And continuing our team coverage of this historic verdict, many here in our community believe justice was served. Our Colette Bordelon down at the Police Operations Center tonight right now, where so many of our local protests happened this past summer. Colette?
That's right, Rob. This was one of the sites where people gathered night after night as part of a national push for justice for George Floyd and many others. Now take a look at some of this video that I gathered through downtown Colorado Springs last summer. On the heels of these demonstrations, the city formed a police oversight commission, which can make recommendations regarding our police department to city council. But now, after watching the Chauvin trial play out for weeks and having to relive the video captured of Floyd pinned to the ground, a professor I talked to says this guilty verdict wasn't justice, it was accountability.
If we begin to lean into dealing with the work of rooting out that racism and telling the truth to ourselves and hearing it, then this can be a transformative moment.
And even now with that guilty verdict, a psychologist tells me the mental health side effects of watching that trial will linger on. She even goes as far as to call it re-traumatizing. Tonight at 10, I'll have a local 360 look at what this guilty verdict means. Always watching out for you, Colorado Springs. Colette Bordelon, News 5.
Colette, thanks. More reaction from here at home. Governor Polis reacting to the verdict this afternoon, releasing a statement that reads in part, quote, "True justice would mean having him here with us today," referring to George Floyd. "Let us acknowledge this victory and use this inflection point to bend the arc of social equality toward lasting justice so this doesn't happen again." U.S. Senator John Hickenlooper also releasing the following statement on the verdict in the Chauvin trial, saying in part, "While we welcome the verdict, let's remember that no sentence will ever bring George Floyd back to his family." He also said we must reform a broken system that continues to allow these tragedies to occur. Colorado Representative Danae Escar of Pueblo says in part, "Last year, in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, Colorado led the nation in passing a bold, sweeping police accountability bill that moved us closer to justice in our communities." She goes on to say, "Today, as we breathe a collective sigh of relief after the guilty verdict, we recommit ourselves to continuing to advance the cause of justice." We'll have much more local and national reaction to that verdict again coming up on News 5 at 10.